For dramatic conflict in a scene, could you please give us some examples of an ultimate conflict and go deeper into what that means? I.e., does it mean the ultimate conflict thematically of the book that the protagonist wrestles with and therefore resurfaces, or does it mean the ultimate conflict of the entire novel as in the climax, or does it mean the ultimate conflict of only that scene in particular? Let me know if you want me to reread
that. So that phrasing isn't necessarily organic to me. That I think we might have collaborated on that terminology. That ultimate conflict.
I don't know where in the course that was.
I don't either. I would say you could think of it two ways. You can think of an ultimate conflict within a scene, I suppose, as, you know, like I talk about that building to a dramatic moment, right, where something happens, and that can be conflict. Not because not every scene's dramatic moment is explicitly conflict, right? Sometimes it's surprise or other feelings or betrayal or whatever. I don't know. I guess maybe that's all conflict, but sorry, my brain is like, I think, can you repeat it one more time? I'm sorry.
I'm trying to make sense of it as well. For the dramatic conflict in a scene.
Okay.
Yes, so first of all, dramatic. It's called the dramatic moment, right? Not the dramatic conflict.
That's okay. So that's
so could you
dramatic moment of the scene.
So I think that's an important clarification that you said, that it's not necessarily a conflict, but I guess it could be. Could you give us some examples of an ultimate conflict and go deeper into what that means? I'm trying to remember that term from the course too. In my gut is thinking ultimate conflict means plot conflict.
Plot, yeah, me too.
Like plot-wide conflict that doesn't get resolved until the end, and how could the dramatic moment of the scene sort of tie into that, maybe? Okay,
so I think I break this down, but I am someone who needs to hear information like 12 times to get it. So we've got for some reason, the example that always comes to mind, let's say the ultimate conflict of the story is your character wants to become the first woman astronaut. Obviously, this would have been back in time. That's her overarching story. And let's say it's at a time when that's unheard of. You know, the establishment's not very fond of that idea. They're working against her. Her father doesn't want her to go. Her mother doesn't want her to do it. She doesn't have enough money. You know, you've got all this stuff, right? So every scene, the dramatic moment has to do with her goal for that scene as she's working her way toward the ultimate conflict of overcoming so she can become the first woman astronaut. So she might have to figure out a way to let the Academy, I'm making stuff up now, the Academy let her in even though they've never admitted a woman, and she has to do something extraordinary for them to accept her. You know, that ultimate conflict might be the moment, something related to that scene. And then another scene, she has to convince her father to give her the money to allow her to go. I don't know. So like each scene has something it's working toward that dramatic moment will be revolving around that scene goal.
Right.
But each scene goal is another piece in that puzzle toward her larger overarching goal, which will have an ultimate conflict. Like maybe she becomes the first woman astronaut, but then all the male astronauts on her team try to sabotage her, and that's her, climax. I don't know. I'm not.
I think that's a great example, and I think what you just said is the pieces of the whole. You know, each scene is you talk about this in the course.
Yes.
Each scene is a piece of the whole plot, and perhaps a way to look at it is, I don't necessarily think it needs to be quite as tidy as every dramatic moment has to directly tie into the ultimate conflict. But you could think about, how does the ultimate conflict sort of create or manifest these little dramatic moments? Like getting into the Academy. Well, because the institution doesn't look, highly on women astronauts, that's the ultimate conflict. That would trickle down into the Academy. So yeah, I don't think there has to be like sort of this direct parallel in every scene. It might that might end up feeling a little formulaic. But
your scenes are like, it's, scenes build on each other. What happened in the last scene affects what happens in the next scene in some way, shape, or form, right? Unless you're doing something non-chronological. So it's really like, it's kind of connecting them, making them feel connected. But like you said, they don't have to be like cookie cutter.
Yeah. Okay, great. If you enjoyed this video, we've got a lot more on writingmastery.com. Check the description for links to our blog, free writing tools, and more. Happy writing.